Thanks for stopping by. I've mentioned many times I'm a big fan of metal magazines and metal zines, and they become harder and harder to come by these days. If you go into a metal store, the odd time you see one, you can get a couple. Distros like Nuclear War Now and Hell's Headbangers, that's mostly where I go for them. And even like the professional magazines, such as like you're lucky to find a copy of Decibel now, I find. It used to be at big bookstores, and even now I find maybe half of them. But it's unfortunate, Metal Maniacs, Terrorizer, long gone. But gotta look through some stuff here. Some of it's from the 90s, some of it's from this year. I got it all over the place, so I grabbed a big stack and we'll randomly go through it. So first thing I have here is a zine called The Sinister Flame, and they would name their issues. So this one was called Hammer, A Black Illumination. This is a very professionally done magazine. High quality paper, really good writing. It definitely has some ads in here too, but it focuses on very obscure black metal and the occult. And they seem to be not affiliated with, but the editor here seems to be very interested or involved in the Order of Nine Angles, which is an occult organization that I don't know much about outside of reading articles in this magazine. Definitely seems to be a controversial thing. But again, these magazines are very interesting, very well read, and again, despite my disassociation with a lot of the topics, if I see one, I'll buy it. And they were based out of Finland. Here's a copy of Metal Maniacs from 2008. This was the era when Isan put out The Adversary, his first solo album. Actually, this might have been a little later. This might have been like the second solo album. But yeah, Metal Maniacs, my all-time favorite magazine. There we go, right there. Nathan T. Burke, he was one of my favorite writers in Metal Maniacs. We have Kaleidoscope. I believe this is another zine from Finland. This one's got Bolzer, Cosmic Church, Horrendous, Tribulation. Definitely has more of a, homemade feel to it. But I've got a couple of these issues, and I always enjoyed it. Kaleidoscope. Zombie Dance. So, this was, I'm pretty sure, a French magazine. And definitely a sense of humor. Definitely a lot of inappropriate subjects and humor in here. And Sadistic Intent, Goat Lord, Samael, Master's Hammer, Ancient Rites. Thick issue. Awesome. And in that actual issue, or another Zombie Dance issue, there was a bonus mini-zine, which has a French, thrash, and death metal special. And they have old school and new school bands, looks like. Merciless, Aggressor, Witches. Never listened to a ton of French metal, but it was a good read. There's another copy of Zombie Dance. Who's in this one? Denial of God. Possession. sadistic execution, witch find. Let's say a more recent copy of Decibel. Another Sinister Flame issue. This is, now I'm going to try to pronounce that, some Latin stuff. But again, more of the same, obscure black metal, the occult. Very interesting and informative. Zero Tolerance magazine out of England, and they are probably the best regular metal magazine that you can buy in stores. But even still, there's one store in my local mall where I can generally get this, but so I'm lucky that I can find it there. But outside of that, though, it is hard to find, and it seems to be coming out less frequently. I think the last issue was there was like a 4-month gap, and they put one out, and I feel like we're due for one. I just haven't seen it, but again, it's an import from England, and we probably get it here in Canada a couple months after the fact. Isten magazine, they've been around since at least the 90s, and I've always heard high praise for this magazine. Again, a sense of humor, interesting layout, great bands covered. I actually saw there was a book on sale somewhere that was like a compilation of their old issues, and I'd like to get a copy of that somewhere. Got sketches of the band members discussed throughout. That's Miko from Clandestine Blaze. It's another Metal Maniacs from 2008. A monomarth on the cover. I'm going to try not to do too many pauses, so I'm looking for something in particular. If I don't see it, I'll move on. Zero Tolerance, probably from a couple years ago. Mayhem on the cover. There's probably a lot of readers at Decibel that might watch this, so I'm just gonna fly through those ones quick. But Haunt, Decibel Tour 2020, Possessed, Napalm Death. It's actually a bit of a problem of mine with Decibel, is they definitely go too all in on Napalm Death. I don't know why. I hate to always just kind of have this backhanded compliment towards Napalm Death, like I know they're legends, but I do think these recent albums they're putting out are very overrated. People seem to love them, and the media seems to love them. Okay, let's get another zine in here. In Search of Pure Negativity. Look at that. Ancient Rites again. A lot of hard to read logos. I'm not sure where this is from, but I'm pretty sure it's European. What do we have here inside? I guess they're color posters. Sargeist. Kill. And I guess I need 3 copies of it. Metal Maniacs from 07. The legendary Neurosis on the cover. I keep looking for an example of Nathan T. Burke's column, apocalyptic raids. Some issues had it, some didn't. I don't see it here. Okay, Metal Maniacs 06. Celtic Frost on the cover. Amorphous Destruction. You know what though? The best thing about Metal Maniacs was like they're independent. Like the fast forward columns, the reviews. That's a recent one. Cave In, Decibel 2019. Okay, here's a unique one. Iron Fist with Celtic Frost on the cover. So Iron Fist were a magazine. I think it's folded now, but they put out at least several issues. Mostly focused on old school metal, more than talking about new bands, which they did sometime. But it would be a lot of retrospective things, in this case on Bathory, on Mayhem, old school bands like Oz, Doro, Hyrax, Autopsy. But then some newer bands here too. Black Anvil, 40 Watt Sun, Portrait. Nordic Vision. This is an old Norwegian magazine that I feel was pretty, well, it had a big buzz in the, maybe not the 90s, but the 2000s. And they did resurface. This is a 2008-2009 issue. Dark Throne on the cover. Take, Bloodbath, Virus. Very cool. Serograph. This is one of those photocopied, stapled magazines. This is from Poland. There's a lot of good Polish zines, and you can't help but notice the amount of love the Polish fans have for metal. They are hardcore. And give me some hand staple magazine by a Polish teenager over a glossy thing. Just recommending what they're supposed to every time. Zero Tolerance. My Dying Bride. The Sinister Flame, yet again. Black Pilgrimage. This is issue 6. Always interesting. And always things that make you pause and say, what is that? Necromantia article there. Okay, where are my covers gone? Unrestrained. Don't know if I ever brought them up before, but that was probably my second all-time favorite magazine. That was out of Mississauga, Ontario, I believe. Not too far from me. He had Kevin Stewart Panko. He always had a back page where he did short reviews. Always funny. Yeah, I never met that guy, but I see him at shows all the time. It's hard to show magazines in a video, but Unrestrained magazine. If you ever see that, see a copy somewhere on a, I don't know where you would. I don't know why I'm saying that. I found some used copies somewhat recently from a Canadian seller. Here's another one. When did these guys fold? It was probably like 2000, 2009 or so. This was 2005. Haruspex zine. Ari's Kingdom, Sabbat, Conqueror, Rotting Christ, Bone Owl. Like some other zines, I have some of these, I don't know for a fact, but they seem to be put together in cooperation with Nuclear War Now. productions. So I don't know if it's just a thing where they make a deal, say you make the zine, we'll put it together for you and sell it. But I think this might have been one of those. Decibel with Ozzy. Behemoth. Death Heaven. Power Trip. Baroness. Full of Hell. You do gotta give it to Decibel. They do support a lot of underground bands, and they do give bands you wouldn't suspect the cover sometimes. Okay, I think this is my only one. Sotsir Susi. I don't know what that means. Satanic War Master, Mortifera, Leviathan, Clandestine Blaze. Those are the big names here. I think, to my recollection, that this was a Russian magazine done in English. And let's pick one more before I wind this up. Chips and Beer. This is issue number 1. Again, I've always been a fan of metal zines that use a sense of humor, but you gotta actually be funny. Some try and fail. I think many do a very good job. I mean, you gotta be a metal fan to probably appreciate the humor, of course. But what's on here? Like, I'm impressed. Eerie Vaughn, Manila Road, Pentagram, Negative Plane. Amazing. And you hear the CD skipping, definitely time to end this video. But lots more to come. Thank you.